Tonight is a kind of a first of a kind, and it's something I hope continues on. First of all, you're here. The hardest part about tonight was naming it, because we couldn't really get it into an acronym or something really easy. Basically, it's this. If you're a high school student athlete, if you're an eighth grader who's into sports, who's into getting good grades and who thinks about their future, the only thing I could think about saying about tonight is there's never a too early, but there is a too late. Okay? There's never a too early, but there is a too late. And the never too early means if you are a freshman, sophomore, you don't need to know where you're going to college right now. You don't need to know what you're going to major in. You don't need to know all of that. But you should be formulating a plan. Okay? And a set of values. Okay, I participate in athletics. I like them. I may or may not want to participate in them at that next level. I don't know anything about it. I've never met a college athlete. I don't know what the day's like. Okay, I don't even know if I can get into the school. And the thing is, these are questions that are unfortunately never asked or hardly ever asked because it seems embarrassing, like, oh, I should know the answer to that. And it normally ends, and this kind of translates into the seniors and stuff like that, it normally ends around the kitchen table, going down the hallway, and into a slammed door with a lot of screaming, yelling, and tears. Okay? Anybody who has a senior knows that to be true because I lived it. Okay? So I know. And I'm in the business, but I certainly didn't know enough. And I vowed to say, you know, as I became athletic director, I'm not going to be able to provide everybody with every answer, but I hope I can formulate a lot of questions and give people a general sense of what it takes to get into the school I want. Some of the myths between Division 1, 2, and 3. You know, if I had a nickel for every basketball player that tells me, yo, I'm going D1. You don't even know what D1 is. You have no idea. Okay? No clue. The fact that a public high school has zero chance of having a D1 player recruited in basketball in this area is just a fact. You'd be lucky to make most state college or Division III rosters because the pool shrinks and the level of athletes is unbelievable. The other reason why it's important is I don't believe that we do a great job of preparing you for the next level when it comes to time management, when it comes to making you accountable for your own actions, when it comes to holding you accountable for your actions, and when it comes time to set the stage for the rest of your life. We shelter you, we love you to death, but we shelter you way too much to give you the real scoop. So, the emphasis tonight, with the help of Matt Krakowski, who's at Springfield College as a grad student, and Jake Salamita, who's an undergrad, helped me develop this night that hopefully generates more questions, gives you valuable information, and at least makes you think. One, and I say this, and I met with our guest speaker in a second, we met last week, and I said this, if you wanted to play at the college level, any person in this room, if you want to play at the college level, I'm not saying which, there's a college for you. Is it the right college for you? I can't answer that question. But every single one of you can participate at the college level, at some level. Some at the highest, some at the lowest. And what you'll learn tonight is we have Division 1 through Division 3 athletes here. And what you'll find out is it's a lot of work no matter what level you're at. Okay? So that is the purpose for tonight. First panelist just spoke. What Ms. Jacobs didn't say is that she was the head coach of swimming at Springfield College, at Oberlin?
No, at Washington and Lee. I forgot to
Washington and Lee for 15 years. So she's associate AD for 4 years at Oberlin College, and now she's been the associate athletic director at Springfield College for over 3 years. She was a Division III national qualifier all 4 years. Was that you as an athlete?
Yep.
Excellent. She finished top 8 each year in the nation in Division III swimming. She was a Dickinson College Athlete of the Year in 1988-89. And she was inducted into the Dickinson College Hall of Fame. And her goals is to be the head athletic director at a Division III school. Ms. Jacobs, to the stage, please. Very good. Welcome. Our next panelist, most of you will know him. His name is Justin Franzik. He teaches at Chicopee Comprehensive. He also happens to be our golf coach and our varsity baseball coach. What people may not know about Coach Franzik is he's also an assistant basketball coach at Trinity College in Hartford, Connecticut, which is a NESCAC school, which I will say is one of the top schools in the country. His college major was physical therapy and education. His college sport was golf, and he wants to be the head coach. I'm assuming that's at the college level someday. He wants to be a head coach. Welcome up, Chicopee's own, Justin Franzik. The next person is Mike Corletta. I actually met Mike this summer, not knowing he'd be sitting here 6 months later as I coach a summer baseball team of college and above age people, and Mike happened to be on the team. Got to know him very well. We reached out to him and he's here. He is currently a graduate student at Springfield College, majoring in athletic administration. He was a 4-year starter at Springfield College, and he's very humble because what he didn't write in there is something that people should know that Mr. DeFranco told me. Was it your senior year they switched your position on you? Okay, what position were you, third base?
I was shortstop.
Okay, so his 3 years, he is the shortstop for Springfield College. So he's a starter for 3 years. And I get this all the time from parents and players when they don't want to switch because that's my position, that's where I play. After 3 years as a starter, they move him over to second base. Some may see that as a demotion. The person who coached the summer team with me told me that he was so inspired by Mike because he never let it show. He was probably upset. He probably wanted to use it as motivation to get better, but he took it the right way, and he ended up being what's called a graduate assistant, which now he's a Springfield College baseball coach. I'm sure if he had handled it poorly, Coach Simeone would not have taken him as a graduate student for Springfield College baseball, because being a graduate assistant as a college player means that you go to school for nothing, correct? So Mike is not paying for his master's degree. Most of that must come from a great work ethic and attitude. Ladies and gentlemen, Mike Corletta. The next young man I know very well as I coached him here at Chicopee High School. His name is Dan Asselin. He was a varsity baseball player for 4 years and a 2-year captain at Chicopee High School. He was varsity basketball for 3 years and a 1-year captain. He was a soccer player also his senior year for Coach Rivet, who's in the room. He was All-Western Mass Baseball his first team junior and senior year, and he won the Sportsmanship Award his senior year in basketball. Dan went on to AIC, and the funny thing about Dan is he probably wishes we had this when he was there, because I remember arguing with him all the time about getting his college applications in, choosing the school, and we went back and forth. Remember those days? Oh, I don't want to, I got to do that application. I don't feel like it. I got to do it overnight. I don't feel like it. Dan is at AIC, which is a Division II school. So if anybody's thinking at the Division II level, Dan is there. He's an outfielder. He is going to be a starter this year. And what he didn't write down is what I know, because I follow him all the time. The Northeast 10 Conference is one of the top Division II conferences in the country. And in May of this year, how many home runs did you hit? 4 home runs in about 2 weeks in a wooden bat league. It was the Northeast 10 Conference Player of the Month. Yes, he was. Get up there. Don't be so sad. Don't be so sad, man. It's an accomplishment. That's what we're talking about. Next up is another Chicopee High graduate, Connor DeVivo. Connor DeVivo, 2009, were you? 2009. I also coached his brother. Wasn't half the athlete, and you can tell him that. Alex was a good athlete. Connor's better. Connor was an all-New England selection, Division I Player of the Year, and he was all-Western Mass in soccer and tennis. He went on to Wilbraham Munson Academy for a year, and then earned a scholarship to UMass, which is Division I soccer. He was the A10 Rookie of the Week a few years back. And what's great about working in education is things come full circle. Last spring, as he got out of school, instead of going home and playing Xbox and sleeping every day, Connor would come in for a span of about 3 weeks and spend his entire day with me as he is transitioning into the next phase of his life, figuring out what he wants to be, where he wants to do it, and hopefully involved in athletics and education for the rest of his life. Connor DeVivo. The next young lady coming up, I've never met, I just met her tonight, but apparently my son is in her class at 8 a.m. Is it tomorrow? Tomorrow at 8 a.m. Kind of interesting. Name's Lucy Gillette. She plays Springfield College soccer. What I found out tonight, and she said it's okay to tell her, Lucy was cut all 4 years of high school soccer. She walked on to Hofstra University, which is Division I, and made the team. Okay? Cut all 4 years, made the team. She transferred from Hofstra to Springfield College because of physical education, and Springfield College is a renowned physical education program. So she transferred there. She was the NUMAC Championship Most Outstanding Player. They won the NUMAC Championship this year and qualified for the NCAA tournament, and they had to drive out to Pennsylvania last week where they lost a close game 1-0. She played in the first round of the NCAA, and I'm sure we'll be hearing a lot from her in the future, Miss Lucy Gillette. Next up is a Chicopee Comp representative. I'll tell you, we only have one comp person here tonight. We had another one set up. We had Alyssa Werbicki coming. Alyssa was a 2012 graduate from Chicopee Comprehensive High School. She's at AIC Division II Women's Soccer. She has a good reason for not being here tonight. She is in the NCAA Championships, the round of 16. It's in, I believe, St. Rose or Albany, New York, but part of the process is leaving 2 days early for press conferences, so her bus took off today, so Alyssa Werbicki could not make it here. Next up is Ryan Malone. He's a 2010 graduate of Chicopee Comp. Fast forward, last year, Ryan also did his 120-hour practicum through Springfield College with me, and I got to know Ryan on a different level, because all I saw were feats on the athletic fields. He was all Western Mass first team in soccer, basketball, and volleyball. He was the Republican Athlete of the Year in 2010 for his accolades in those sports. He was Western Mass champions 3 years in a row in volleyball, and they won the state title their senior year. He was all-state in soccer his senior year, and he was an all-star in all-team sports. If you go on the Springfield College website and check their stats for men's soccer this year, you'll see that he was all-conference first team, all-conference second team in 2010, Rookie of the Year in 2010, Most Outstanding Freshman in 2010. He is an unbelievable soccer player, and he has some great insights into life after Chicopee Comp. His career goals is to be a professional soccer player and owner of a multi-sport facility. All right, Ryan Malone.
This question is for Connor DeVivo. For District 1, did you receive athletic scholarships, academic scholarships, or both?
I happen to receive an athletic scholarship, academic, unfortunately not. At UMass, we're not really a fully funded school compared to other schools, so that's something to look into if you're trying to get money. A lot of schools were actually the least funded in the Atlantic 10, so there's not much to go around, but they divide it up and spread it out, whereas some kids won't receive a complete full scholarship, but every player on the team will get a little bit or something like that. But if you don't get a scholarship, you can walk on or just come in and pay the full boat, but you can work your way up and coach can get your scholarship over the years.
So you're saying with the amount of kids on your team, you're dividing up a few scholarships among 20 players?
Yeah, they can. I mean, like, instead of, like, for us, we don't have that much, so instead of giving one guy all the money and just getting like a star player, he kind of just divides it up. That's just how UMass is, but yeah.
I can follow up on that too, folks, so you don't have to listen in. If you look on the NCAA website or the core course that we've set up with a lot of our students, a Division I school in baseball can offer like 12.3 scholarships. The school can choose how many of those 12.3 to fund. They can fund 6 of them if they want. And they can chop them up into little bitty pieces, which is what Connor's talking about. You get a little bitty piece of the pie. So the word full boat can be a misnomer in a lot of programs. All right, thank you.
And they have the Title IX too, which if there's a football team, the football team is going to get a lot of the scholarships most of the time. So they have to have the same amount of scholarships for girls and boys, women's and men's sports. And if they don't have a football team, that's a lot of scholarships for men's sports. So that's going to be another factor.
Very good.
This question's for Ryan Malone. What happens if a team's practice or game time interferes with class time?
I've had instances where that's happened many times where I've had a game on a day where I'd have to leave early, and leaving early would mean I'd have to miss class. And if you, especially for me on the Division III level, classes are much smaller. So I can talk with my professors and I can work something out where I can leave. I'm able to leave early because of athletics, but they give me the opportunity to make up the work that I missed. So anytime that I have a game or practice that I have to attend in order to play, professors are very lenient. Well, not lenient, but they are willing to work with you to be able to work something out that you can make up the work that you missed.
Also, as a coach, our players go to class. They're not allowed to miss a class for a practice. Games are a little different. But also, we have them go to their teachers before a season even starts. They print up a schedule, highlight the days that class will be a conflict for a game or something, hand that into a teacher, communicate right up front with them that, these are the days I'm going to be missing. I also encourage them to then, when that time gets a little closer, to email the teacher, because they're busy, they do forget. So email them, remind them they have a game, get the work. They're in college, they're not going to come find you if you're missing anything, so we encourage our players to seek them out, get what they're missing, seek extra help if needed. But yeah, so you're going to miss some classes and stuff because it's a busy schedule, but everybody's really willing to work with you, coaches, faculty, friends and teammates, so everybody will help you get the job done.
Coach, can you be clear though? Is it the student's responsibility or do you help them out as coaches do that?
We're there for a little help if they come to us, but in no way, shape, or form are we going to seek them out. In college, it is your responsibility to do your work. I don't want to sound harsh and like the teachers aren't going to help you, but you got to go to them. Teachers don't care if you don't go to class, so you need to wake up and get to your 7:30 a.m. class because coaches talk to the professors. They know who's in class. That could be the difference between beating somebody out for a starting position is if you're going to class and getting what you need to do done.
Your scholarship's good for 1 year. So if you're granted a full ride your freshman year, you are not guaranteed that for all 4 years. So it is something to think about. Like everybody said here, you have to work hard. You have to keep contributing and working in the classroom as well as on the field. So you just have to keep earning it each year.
Student athletes as well. Are there any nutritional diet plans that your teams are required to have or fulfill? And as far as the athletes, are there any nutritional or diet plans that you're recommended to follow or are offered at your schools?
At Springfield, there is no nutritional requirement. Some of the coaches do recommend certain things. We have a very good dining hall in Cheney. I would think everybody here that's gone to Springfield would agree. And they have a lot of different offerings. It's very easy to eat too much, but there are recommendations made, but I don't know of any of our coaches that do require it.
From the athlete's perspective, it's kind of your responsibility if you're going to be a college athlete to eat right, making sure you're doing the right stuff off the field. For us, we have compliance come in preseason. Basically, we have meetings about what we should be eating, what we should stay away from, kind of an educational thing. But it's pretty much your job to make sure, because it does have an effect on the field, whether you're drinking soda and eating cookies and dinner. So, it definitely matters, but it's part of being a student athlete in college.
At Springfield, we have strength and conditioning coaches, and throughout the year, they'll kind of give us advice on what foods we should be eating and shouldn't be eating. And for me, personally, I was hurt last year, and I worked a lot with the strength and conditioning coach. And he actually gave me his personal diet to kind of stay in shape, since I was on crutches for 6 months or something like that. So he gave me a specific diet that I could go along with to keep myself fit, even though I was on crutches. So our strength and conditioning coaches at Springfield are really good with working with you to make sure that you're getting the right nutrition every day.
Administrators right off the bat will tell parents they don't talk to the parents about playing time, and they leave it to the coach and the student athlete to work out.
The two biggest things are hustle and attitude. Does the player run on the field? Does he run off the field? Is he doing everything between those lines that he's giving 110% effort? Number two, attitude. All right, this is my biggest pet peeve. When somebody makes a mistake, you know, they're kicking the dirt, they're throwing their helmet, throwing their bat, moping around, making it very obvious. All right, we look for people who can make that mistake, because mistakes are going to happen, and they can just brush it off, take a deep breath, evaluate what they did, but then move on and never, you know, show a sign of it. And then, so the time the next play comes to them, they're ready to be made. You know, for me, I was never the biggest guy on my team. I never had the highest batting average. You know, I never had the lowest number of errors or anything. But I gave everything I had when I was between those lines. And, you know, that's what got me to make pretty much every team I've been on to this point. And from those teams, you know, you meet other people, you form relationships, and even like my teammates and stuff, you know, some of my best friends. But none of this would have ever happened if I didn't hustle, if I struck out, if I cursed like crazy, I smashed my helmet, or did anything like that. You know, so as a coach, when I go recruiting, I'm looking at everything. I'm not looking at if you're hitting 4 home runs. Yeah, that's awesome. But what are you going to do for our school? Are you going to be somebody that we're going to have to keep an eye on and make sure, you know, you're doing everything correctly? Or are you somebody that's going to be, you know, representing our school well, and we can bring you to different things and, you know, have recruits stay with you? So it's kind of like the whole package, you know, so more than just statistics.
This question is for all guest speakers. If you had to do everything over again, what would you do differently?
Well, first off, I would say I went D1 first, and I kind of, the D1 school I went to, Hofstra, was close to my home, so I felt like it was easier to stay home, but I would go away, and also look at, don't worry about the division. I play at D1 and D3 now, and I gotta say they're both pretty much the same, both competitive level. Focus on the education, because like they were saying before, not everyone goes professional, so you don't need to think you need to go D1 because you want to go professional. You're going to have to get a job after college, so look at the education, make sure you get the right education, and you're at the school that's going to get you to the best place after college. Don't focus on which school you're going to play, like, do the best playing-wise or anything. Just look at the education first and get that done.
For me, it would be going back to high school, because my grades were, to be honest, they were crap in high school. And my focus back then I would have put the same amount of emphasis on academics as I did athletics, because it would have made the application process for Springfield much easier, because I got denied the first 2 times that I applied. And I had to, my coach, he kept checking up on me every single midterm or final grade in like all of my classes. And so if I were to go back, I would absolutely focus more on my academics, because the athletics are going to be there. So for me, I would go back and focus on my school. And with the application process, I really only applied to Springfield besides one other school. But I kind of wish I wish I started looking earlier, because I started looking pretty much my senior year, beginning of my senior year, and I wish I started my beginning of my junior year, because then I would have had a lot more options. I'm happy where I am, but I would have had a lot more options if I started looking sooner.
AIC in the fall, we have fall baseball, and I kind of went in like really nervous and didn't really think. I wasn't really confident in myself, so when it definitely showed in the field when I would do things that I wouldn't usually do. I would make errors or strike out all the time, blah blah blah. So I started like doubting myself, like trying to question, like, do I really like belong at this level? Like, should I have went somewhere else? So I should have went into the school, like the first practice, like with more confidence and like kind of know where I belong. Like, I can do this. Like I can play with these guys. I belong in this field just like everybody else. So that's what it's going to be natural to be nervous when you first like go into the first practice, first game, but just to, like know you belong and like play with confidence, I would say.
Okay, this question is for Lucy. What was the deciding factor when it came down to which school to choose?
Well, at first, as you know, that I went to Hofstra. At first, I did choose athletics first, which everyone tells you not to, and then I did it. So I would definitely say do not at all go athletics first. Pick the education, like I said before. After college, you're going to need the academics to get you somewhere, get a job and everything. So the deciding factor is definitely the education. Focus on that mainly. Keep your grades up now so that you can get into school with the academics that will get you where you want to be after college.
This is a question for all the speakers. What were some of the biggest challenges about playing in college?
The first thing I would say is the competition, like internally with your team. Like there's when you're on the team, like there's like 3 or 4 guys that are going to the same spot as you, and they were the best player on their high school team too, just like you know. So you have to really like work really hard to like compete with them, and like because they're trying to do the same thing you are. I would say, along with competition, I would also say is preparation. Like you really have to prepare for your sport in every way, in the weight room, on the field, in the classroom, because you know there's like at any sport there's going to be like you're going to be playing high level competition, and you need to like be in your best shape and your best form to compete with them.
My most difficult part was that we weren't good. We were 9-26 my freshman year, so you think about it, we have a 4-week fall season, 4 days a week, we're all day Saturday, we're out there. Then right after that we start lifting all year. All right, so 2 days a week now they're lifting. Then you get back from Christmas break, it's 6 a.m. lifts in the morning. Then it's Monday through Friday practice, where you're hitting for an hour and a half. Then you have 2-hour field house time where you're doing, defensive stuff. All right, for a month. Then the season comes, and we play 40 games in a little over 30 days. So, I mean, you're playing, like, packed. And then only win 9 of those. Okay, so you're seeing the picture I'm painting here. It's pretty tough. But the best thing I could say about that is it's kind of a reality check. You have to look in the mirror, you have to look at your teammates, and you have to make some differences. So there's definitely a good thing to come out of it. The next year we were a little bit better, still nothing, too spectacular. The year after that, a little better. Then my senior year, basically the same, thing to start, and we turned it around. We ended up winning over 20 games, and it was kind of like night and day, and it finally clicked. But if we didn't work hard through, dealing with all the adversity and dealing with all the hard times and sticking together, we would still be 9-26 to this day. So keep it up, keep working.
This question is for Justin Franzen. What are things that can cause a coach to stop recruiting athletes?
There's a lot of things. One of the things that I know we look for is how hard kids are working and how into things they are and how into their sport. You can tell whether a kid loves to play or whether he doesn't like to play just by watching him on the court. If he, kind of moping around and not doing a lot of things to help his team, only looking for his shot and his things like that, that certainly makes a difference for us. You'd be surprised at how many kids we've stopped recruiting after we go see them play another sport. For basketball, if I go see a kid play soccer or football or one of his fall sports or even a spring sport like lacrosse or something like that, and they're not into it, you can just tell that turns you off right away. I mean, it's attitude and effort and energy, and those are things that you can control no matter what. Those are really 3 big things that we will not recruit a kid for, just attitude-wise. So that's and grades, absolutely. Thank you. Grades are so important, especially at our school. We have kids who I've stopped recruiting so many kids because they can't cut it in the classroom. The first thing that I do after I see a kid play is I call his guidance counselor, and I have his guidance counselor fax me over his official transcript. And if I see under old SAT, if it's under 1,200, we can't recruit you. You know, and GPA, if it's under a 3.3, chances are we're not going to be able to recruit you. And I've had to tell so many kids, hey, I'm sorry, I can't recruit you because you don't have, you know, because you have 2 Fs on your report card. You know, there's nothing I can do. So you got to keep it up in the classroom too.
Just to kind of go off that, for soccer, I had some pretty good amount of Division I offers, but the second that they looked at my grades, they kind of just brushed me away, and they didn't like take another look. So again, just the emphasis on grades is so crucial, because I could have been playing possibly at UMass with Connor, but my grades were the reason that didn't happen. So again, just the emphasis on grades is so crucial.
For me, grades are obviously a big part too, but going, something a little different. I look for sportsmanship. I'm all about character and how people act. So sportsmanship, how you're acting. My next big key thing is, are you coachable? When you go to these schools, we want you guys to buy into our system. These coaches have been coaching for 20, 25 years. They know what they're talking about. Many of them have gone to professional level. And, you need to trust your coach. You need to listen to what they say. And that's kind of what I evaluate to see if, high school kids are going to listen what they say. We're not expecting everybody to be pristine in every single thing they do, but are you willing to listen to what somebody who's been around longer, seen things, are you willing to listen to what they're telling you and be able to make that adjustment?
Just one more thing in regards to grades. You 8th graders, 9th graders, 10th graders, you don't realize how important those 3 years are to your college or to your high school transcript. It's amazing what a D in English as a freshman does to your overall core GPA. I mean, you don't realize that right now, but in 3 years, 4 years, you're going to look back at that D or that F that you got in English or math or science, and it's going to come back to haunt you, and you're not going to be able to get into to the school of your choice because of that. I mean, I preach that all the time. I can't tell you how many kids have a couple of low grades as freshmen and sophomores, and then it comes time for junior, senior year when they start to really look at schools, and they have no chance of getting into those schools because of those couple of D's and F's that they got when they were freshmen. And that's such a huge thing. I can't express that enough.
And I just want to say, Ryan has brought up his grades a lot, not just in this panel discussion, but he is doing great at Springfield. So he has gotten his grades turned around, and he is not the student that everybody knew here at Chicopee College. So I just want to commend Ryan on that, because he's done such a great job on that.
This question is for Lucy Gillette. What was the transfer process like from going from Division I to Division II?
I gotta say the transfer process actually was a lot easier than I thought it would be. At first, you have to release yourself from the Division I school, so as soon as you think you're going to transfer, before you can talk to any coaches, and before I contacted the Springfield coach, I had to release myself, which was just asking for permission to be released. The school releases you, so pretty simple process. And then it's just like applying for college now. You just have to fill out a little bit of a different transfer application, get your official transcript. So it is a simple process. If you don't feel comfortable, it's pretty easy just to move schools. So it's not that hard at all.
And one thing to add to that, in compliance, you can't transfer out of trouble. So if you're doing poorly academically at one school, it will follow you to the next school.
This question is for Ryan Malone. What are the resources for academic help during an out of season?
In season specifically for soccer, we have Sunday night study hall sessions with the whole team. But for resources at Springfield, the Academic Success Center, they do a good job of, if you go there, you can get all your essays or papers or whatever you need to get edited. But for me, within the recruiting process, I was actually promised that I was going to be like the academic success center was going to be like, because I have a learning disability, and school doesn't come as easy as it does athletically for me. And so when I was going through the recruiting process, I was promised that I was going to get a lot of help on the academic side from the academic success center, but there was a lot of confusion, I guess you can say, between like the academic success center and myself. So, but they do offer good resources for extra help in classes. They have personal tutors that you can get, and also just again, of your work is pretty big that you can help from.
How accepting are upperclassmen of new players?
My experience was good when I came in. Like I said before, we have meetings at the beginning of preseason with compliance about making sure people aren't doing hazing, the stuff you hear on ESPN, big stuff. Guys, freshmen, it's your duty every year. They get jobs for whether it's pumping up the balls, making sure the pennies are washed, getting water, stuff like that. That's their job, but we try to stay away from hazing and stuff like that. When you're a freshman, you're coming in, you don't really know anyone, so that's a good thing. When you come into preseason, you got 23 guys, 25 guys that you know, or you can, if you don't know where class is or something like that, you can call one of the guys and say, hey, I don't know where this class is. So we try to, you're going to be with these guys pretty much your next 3-4 years, so you want to get to know them, be good friends with them, be a good family.
So for me, since we weren't too successful, I was really excited each year we got new freshmen. This was going to be the deciding year. But on a serious note, being a senior, being a freshman too, working my way up, and then becoming a senior, it's fun to pass on the stuff that you've learned and how you've grown over the years. And we took our freshmen seriously. I roomed with 2 freshmen my senior year when we went to our spring trip in Florida. They're still some of my best friends, and I can imagine they will be for a while. So, it doesn't matter how old you are. They look up to you with the experience you have, and it's kind of an honor to pass it down to them and teach them the ropes of how things are done.
Just kind of a little differently. For my team, we have this place called East Campus at Springfield, and it's a place where you can do like high ropes courses. It's just like a bunch of team building exercises that you do when you go there. And when I was a freshman coming in, I was obviously nervous because you're a freshman, you're like the underclassmen. But after that week of preseason, I honestly didn't even feel like I was a freshman anymore. The team was so accepting. And what's different with our team is that how Connor was saying, how freshmen do the stuff with the balls. It was actually the seniors who are responsible of bringing and making sure all the balls are pumped up, kind of all the stuff that Connor was saying. But that was our way of saying that freshmen kind of just accepting the freshmen in a sense. And so we made sure that there was absolutely no hazing or anything like that. But every year the freshmen always comment on how accepting the rest of the team is, especially the seniors.